Welcome to the Angel Investors Network podcast, the first national angel group founded online in 1997, dedicated to perpetuating free enterprise, capitalism, and supporting the American dream. In addition, Angel Investors Network is the organization behind the powerful Mastermind Investment Club, dedicated to harnessing the philosophy of a mastermind to increase success with their investment portfolio. Laura Rubenstein is a social media and marketing strategist and founder of the Social Buzz Club. On the podcast, Laura brings together successful entrepreneurs to share with you how they grow their business, and you can too. And now, here's your host, Laura Rubenstein.
Hello and welcome everyone to the Angel Investors Network podcast. I'm Laura Rubenstein, your host and digital media and marketing strategist. Today we are moving, as always, your startup to the next level. And I'd like to welcome today Hiten Shah to the podcast. Hi, Hiten.
Hi, how are you, Laura?
Good. I just want to give people a little bit of an intro to who you are. Hiten Shah is the president of Metrics Holdings, MES Inc. Metric Holdings is a global supply chain company, and Hiten is responsible for starting and running a dynamic, fast-growing group of companies that are providing global sourcing solutions to the lighting, automotive, agricultural, and heavy machinery industries. Sounds like a big job, Hiten. How did you get started? Where did you grow up? Let's go way back before you even got here. Where did you grow up? What was your childhood like?
In Mumbai, India, and middle-class family. My dad was always an entrepreneur. We have come from generations of entrepreneur, and I was a very sincere kid. I was one of the ones that was a geek, a nerd. I had some good friends, but I was very, very focused on what I needed to do, very organized in how I had my things set up, even at a very early age, very sincere about work. So well loved by my mom, who really wanted me to be an engineer. And just growing up, I went to a English medium school, which was pretty standard for most of the families that wanted to have good education for the kids. And was exposed to my dad, who was doing a small business basically in Mumbai. And so that's what it was. Nothing exciting, pretty middle of the road.
So did you do what your mom wanted? She wanted you to become an engineer?
Yeah, I did. She was pretty hell-bent on it. And she did everything that she could to make sure I stayed focused and took all the intrusions out of my way.
Great. So you went to engineering school, and what was your beginning of your career like?
So I did my undergraduate in India in plastics engineering, and then I came straight for a master's in plastics engineering in University of Massachusetts. After that, I was hired right out of college as an international student, had my visas processed. Worked for a couple of years in Akron, Ohio. And then there were some changes going on there. So we found a new opportunity in Columbus, Ohio. And we moved here in 93. I worked for 9 years at a company called Midwest Acoustifiber. It was a automotive supplier, very, very small supplier when I joined. And I was a part of the key management team to really grow that business really well. And we did a lot of thermal and acoustical insulation products. So I was responsible for engineering. I was responsible to set up the joint venture to grow the thermal business and all of that. We have like 11 different patents that we did some pretty cool discovery as a part of that development for automotive areas. And 2002, I left Acoustifiber to went off on my own because of some changes in the business. And was a sales rep for about 5, 6, 7 years. And then 2007, got an opportunity to really immerse ourselves in the supply chain business. And that's what we've been doing now for 11 years. So we celebrated our 10th year last year, and it's been a great ride.
Wonderful. What do you like most about what you do in the supply chain business and building this?
The improvements and, the changes in productivity, the improvements in cost, and, exceeding our own metrics, and exceeding a lot of the customer expectations. I think that's just fun.
That's great. The Kaizen, the continual improvement, right?
Continual improvement, yeah. We're so good at failing the first time. And as an organization, But we're equally good at recovering from it and keep making changes to get back to at least at the bar level or exceed that.
Well, that's really a good phrase. You were really good at failing the first time. What did you fail at? What was the mistakes you made?
Well, I have a failure wall in my office. All the awards belong to the team and all the failures are mine. So I have a big failure wall that we put together, usually, once every year or so. And we'll review the years last year and prepare the failures. So the failures start from all kinds. I mean, hiring the wrong engineers, picking a wrong supplier, pursuing a wrong business opportunity, picking a wrong warehouse partner, picking the wrong shipping partner, really screwing up the quality of the products, not paying attention to them. I mean, just on and on. And every possible thing you can go in our supply chain world, we have them bad. And, and this being, I thought 2 years back, we could be all things to everybody. And that was another bigger mistake, so we really pursued opportunities that we had no business pursuing at all. So various kinds and everything.
And how did you fix those mistakes? What decisions did you make as a result?
A lot of 4 a.m. mornings, some of it is just short-term corrective actions that you put in place to get out of the ditch. And then some are longer-term strategic and tactical things that you put in place so that I personally, don't make that mistake. And as a team, we have learned those lessons. So, we review once a month. We review all of our successes and failures from last month. So every, missed delivery, every missed quality issue, every missed cost issue, all of that are reviewed among all 110 people globally once a month in our metrics meeting. So regardless of whether it's individual mess up or achievement or whether it's a team mess up or achievement, we acknowledge those and then we focus on, we kind of come up with a third thing, which is what to focus on for the next 30 to 90 days.
As a company and the longevity you've had, what do you think is the main thing you've done right?
Sticking with the business that we had in mind, not letting the fear drive our actions, focusing on the key metrics that we know are important, that are industry benchmarks, that will continue to, give us good opportunities and stuff like that. So, I think it's just focusing on our metrics is really important, and not letting fear or greed or any of these other emotions steer us away from focusing on our customers and focusing on those key metrics.
Do you find that you have to have a discipline to do that, to not get distracted because there are other shiny objects and other things you could pursue and other ways to do it?
Always, absolutely. I think, but I'm always more worried about, having some problems that are really, really tough. I mean, some quality issues that are hundreds of thousands of dollars in costs. Pursuing an opportunity, having had $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 invested in it, and then making a decision to say, okay, let's walk away from it. We're done. So I think those are, very important to walk away from and to acknowledge the fact that, we were wrong in doing this. So that's
cut your losses sooner than later, right?
Yeah, and that's just so tough to do, because you are kind of all of our team members and myself, we're all, vested and attached to the ideas that we had. And one of the things I think that we've come up with is what really made sense in 15 and 16, does it really make sense today? Regardless of who came up with and how brilliant the idea sounded like back in 2 years back or 3 years back, with our business having evolved, does it make sense to do the same thing today in the same way? And I think if you ask that question, it makes it very easy to kind of come, oh, no, it doesn't. So, okay, let's look at what makes sense for July 2018.
What is making sense these days in general?
I think, more of the same. The focus on metrics remains the same. We have a different regulatory environment, there are more tariffs coming, and, there's things, some of the strategic things that we wanted to do, like Mexico sourcing or some other things, we've had to ramp up a little faster because of, for tariffs, for example. The couple of quality issues last year has really forced us to think through a lot more tighter on our supplier selection process, on our sourcing process, on our quality management processes, and the automation and things. We've had to make those as priority for our IT team, for example, for our quality team, for example, for our purchasing and sourcing. We had to beef up those teams. We had to create a very rigorous discipline of which supplier to use. And we thought, we can, having supplier 20 miles away from our China office or India office, we can basically make them do anything we want. That's not true. So we've had to discipline ourselves into some very rigorous supplier sourcing processes. And that's forced us to say no to some of the things because we can't get to the pricing that we want for the opportunities that our sales is bringing. But so be it. Then we walk away from it because it has to make sense on a quality, on the delivery, on the cost, all of that basis. You can't just have one or two legs of the stool solid. You need all three legs standing. So.
Great. So what is the best advice that you've ever received that really helped you in your business?
Best advice. I think some of the best advice comes from my wife. She has been able to have a very unique perspective on people's side of our business. Which people seem to be doing good, which people need to be challenged more, need to be pushed more. I think that advice, even though I kind of discard that many times, I would say she's been one of the best advisors, for me. The other is in 2010, 9 and 10, when we started to put our board of advisors together, one of our advisors told me not to buy the warehouse that was up for sale in Ohio. And I thought that was a pretty unique thing. I thought, we could buy this real estate and have our own warehouse, this and that. And he's like, why do you care? You should just be very close to the customers. And that evolved us to say, okay, let's have a very strong IT tool. Let's have a very strong ERP platform. So we can basically in 90 days open up warehouse anywhere we want with absolutely no impact on the traceability of our inventory, location of our inventory, all of that. So that's allowed us to be, flourishing, being very close to our customers. One of our key offerings for all of our top 10 customers is if they can give us a certain amount or dollar amount, we'll be within 3 days of their plant. So now we are at 6 different locations globally, 7 actually globally, including Poland, 3 in US, 3 in Mexico, and we don't care where we are. So that was a very good advice not to invest in real estate, for example. So people side of it, some of the key strategies like making an investment in inventory, in ID, in IT, in automation, and that type of stuff.
Valid advice that you've received. So let's talk about advice that you give. If you were to give a startup company some advice, what would you advise them?
Focus. I think one of the things, we invest in a lot of the, private equity funds, and we've done some invest in startups and things. And while, they don't really seek me out for advice, and nor do I reach out to a lot of the people that we invest in. But when they do, my question is always, what is the focus? We even in our MES business, after maturing for 10 years, 11 years, what is the focus? We still kind of revolve our thought process in our own business as well as startup. What do you really have to? So there are 2 things, I think. One is what's the focus, and second is how do you execute for quick, confidence building success? Because it's really, really hard for companies to just be, wallowing in their own processes and or development for months and years to come. You're better off having an iterative culture, having an initial product that sticks, and having some initial customers to really help you drive that. So those 2 things, I think focus on whether it's service or a product or whatever you're developing, and having some early success with some customers.
Yeah, know that you can win, and as that book by the Federal Express co-founder said, keep the main thing, right?
Right, exactly.
So let's talk about building a business and what's working for you to attract more business.
You have to figure out why you're successful. You have to figure out what you're successful at. You have to figure out what you're able to do for your customers that's different. than the competitors are. And once you isolate those things, so like, for example, in our thing, one of the key things is to focus on high mix variety of components. So, all of our customers have very, very strong supply chain processes, very sophisticated purchasing and sourcing things for high volume stuff. But, because of the mass customization and things, every single commodity and things we deal with, the way too many options. So, Honda back in 99 had 4 vehicles, and now they have 17 vehicles and about 35 different transmissions and 20 different engines. So the amount of permutations and combinations have phenomenally grown. As a part of that, you can't, and every vehicle gets 3,000 components on an average. So if you're making for very specific transmissions, very specific engines, the things that you used to do in brackets and heat shields and covers and all of that stuff, you're not preparing, the suppliers are not able to do 200, 300, 400,000 shots or components. They have to have so many new 20, 30, 40,000 components. And our DNA is to focus on those high mix variety of parts, our supplier selection, our supply chain processes, our risk management processes, our inventory level management. All of that is designed for that high mix variety of components to make sure that we are really good at that game. Because high volume stuff, you can buy it 20 miles away at a factory and at a very similar price level. So we're not competitive. So finding out, what it was that we're good at. So every new customer, we have focused on those high mix variety of components, first of all. And that tends to be pretty, we get, years pretty easily by the purchasing managers and directors, because those we know are a pain in the neck for them.
Why are they a pain in the neck?
Because, for example, a company like Eaton, okay, they may have 6 people that are managing, this certain level of spend for their basket, and out of that, they may have 2,000 components given average. Okay, first 500 are okay because the first 500 are high volume. They can buy them locally from a company right next door, 100 miles away, 200 miles away, same geographical region. The other 1,500 are a problem. And out of that 1,500, the back 750 are the worst problems. And, we have built our business around those 750 components that tend to be very, very difficult for them to manage. It's used by their smallest divisions. The volumes are unpredictable. The demand patterns are very statistically anomaly. The suppliers are not interested in it. There is very high cost for air freighting, all of that. And that's the basket that we focus on to streamline and help.
So you really have specialized in an area of challenge for your customers. They're really challenged. So what types of marketing do you use to let them know you do that?
We have pretty strong marketing programs, led by Carol and Livia. You've talked to them. So we do everything. We do trade shows. We have built our whole organic website and the blogs and everything else to build certain keywords, to demonstrate our key capabilities really well, our technical capabilities really well. Our marketing activities focuses a lot of our HR, all the people side of the things that we do. We have a family-oriented culture across the globe, and we tend to highlight those. We tend to celebrate Diwali or Chinese New Year, as well as Christmas and Hanukkah and all of that. So all of those things are, we publish them, and we've been able to attract very good people as a result of all that. So based on the technical things that we do on our LinkedIn platforms or our Facebook and all of that, we've had some pretty strong inquiries. So, very organic, home developed website, very good understanding of it. We spend money on the things that matter, but we're very discreet about it. And we've had a pretty strong return on investment on all of the marketing things that we do.
Nice. Which have been the most effective that you are alluding to here?
So we tend to advertise, for example, there is in the engineered components level, there are marketing through like Thomas registers. Those have been pretty attractive for us. Some very specific regional, digital marketing activities to leverage Google AdWords or something like that as well. And then some of the trade shows, where some very specific trade shows tend to be very, very, productive for us.
And when you go to these trade shows or online, or when you're using the Google AdWords, what makes you stand out from the crowd? Because you did say it was, what do you use to stand out?
So our keywords, we continue to define those across the very strong product supplier strength that we have, where we have a book of business, where we can demonstrate, 50 components to show that we have developed it. We understand the materials, we understand the suppliers, we understand the supply chain issues, quality issues, development issues, tooling issues, all of that. So as a part of that, we've been able to, do very specific keywords. But we focus on content marketing, newsletter, PR, as well as all the publications. We have done some white papers too, that have been very, very attractive for a lot of the, senior directors and purchasing people. We've done some very specific commodity resources on our website that tend to attract engineers for design help, for raw material help, for global conversion factors, all of that type of stuff. And then we have our business processes in one-page infographic forms, as well as our PowerPoint forms, as well as Prexy, and all of that stuff. Any medium you want to talk to us, you want to find us, you'll find us.
Wonderful. So you're on it with the marketing. It's always evolving. What would you say is your biggest marketing challenge now?
Just really doing more of the same. I think the marketing, as you said, is always evolving. Our challenge continues to be, for example, we have from Jan through May this year, we had about 183 customers that approached us through our marketing efforts. Okay. Out of those 183, I think we have converted about 40 of them into our request for quote, which is our first level of engagement, our NDA processes, all of that. So we have about 20% conversion, let's say. So what our challenge when we did our Q2 review, we did our quarterly review a little early. We kind of defined that we need to change all these 140 leads that we got that were not relevant. How do we weed those out, and how do we get more of these 40? And to do that, we changed the type of blogs we do. For example, we've changed, we've decentralized our website and blogs for our Mexico, our Poland, and India and China. A lot different than what we did in US, for example. So those are the initial things. In fact, we're in the last 30 days, we've had complete, deep pegging of our blogs in Mexico and China than we do in US. Mm-hmm. So those are some of the findings. And, if we want our customers to find us in China directly, then so be it. If they're looking for the global supply chain managers in China, let them find them. They don't need to find MES in Ohio. So those are the evolving things that, as soon as we said, okay, wait, these are some of the blogs that had very high, click-through rates or views or all of that, then let's leverage those for China and find a partner in China to do more of that. Mm-hmm. Find something very, very different in Mexico, because we don't need to do the same thing everywhere.
Right. It's great.
So that's the evolving part, and we're able to just learn from it and do more. And
segmenting by region what you put out to them.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. That's great. So we're at about the end, but is there anything you haven't shared that you'd like to?
I think, there is only 2.8% of the businesses that grow, that go past $50 million in sales and for past 10 years. So we are very, very lucky and very fortunate to be here. What I wish is all the startups a success. And I think you need people that can help you. You need people that can execute your ideas. So, building a team around some of the things that really make good sense. But at the end of the day, the entrepreneur has to have a very, very, very solid understanding of his business, a comprehensive understanding of why customers are picking them, why suppliers are picking them, why team members are joining them, and keeping their focus on very critical products and success and things. So I wish all the startups all the luck. I'm an entrepreneur by blood, And, I love what I do, and, I hope to continue helping it.
Well, it certainly shows, and I truly appreciate your generosity and your wisdom today. Thank you for being here, and we'll be back with another episode of the Angel Investors Network podcast. Thanks, Hiten.
Thanks, Laura. Bye.
This show has been produced by Market Domination, LLC. To discover how you can have your own show completely done for you and turn it into a real published book and become the authority in your marketplace, go to www.marketdominationllc.com/podcast offer.